granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. Well, this is one of these days when I actually start to feel very depressed. Take a listen to this. It's from an Oxford Union debate, and, there's Lawrence Fox, there's Tommy Robinson, there's Jonathan Sacerdoti. I don't know who this guy is, and they're on one side, obviously. Let's listen to this.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon, known to his hooligans as Tommy Robinson. Stephen, there is a crowd outside rioting against you tonight, and without the protection and generosity of a Muslim Palestinian president and a mostly South Asian executive committee, you would be quite literally cooked.
Let's go over this again. This is the Oxford Union, a centre of intellectual debate. And it starts with this speaker insulting one of the people on the opposite side, I suppose. I don't know who the speaker is.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon, known to his hooligans as Tommy Robinson.
OK, so that's Stephen Yaxley Lennon, that's his name, Tommy Robinson's given name, and his band of hooligans. So not his supporters or anything. She has categorised anyone who supports Tommy Robinson as a hooligan. Well, I happen to support Tommy Robinson, and I can assure you all that I'm not a hooligan. The fact that she snidely puts that in, she just sort of slips it in. It's just an insult to him. And he is not acting like a hooligan, is he? He's just sitting there being polite, which rather gives the lie to her description. But it does, those things where they say every accusation is a confession. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. Let's continue. So she's just insulted one of the speakers, and she has been applauded for it. So it's not just her. It didn't cause a sharp intake of breath in the audience. They thought she was being very clever and intelligent, I suppose.
Stephen, there is a crowd outside rioting against you tonight, and without the protection and...
Now, she's pointing out that there are people outside the hall who would, later on she gets to saying that they would do him harm. In other words, there's a howling mob outside. And yet, she calls Tommy Robinson's followers hooligans. This is somebody who has no concept of what civilized discourse is supposed to be about. All she knows is labels. She has labelled Tommy Robinson's followers hooligans, and her followers, or the followers that support her cause, they're not hooligans. They don't have that label, and she has absolutely no concept of any sort of an external truth. And then she continues with this. Let's just go back a little bit.
Outside rioting against you tonight, and without the protection and generosity of a Muslim Palestinian president and a mostly South Asian executive.
Right. What she's saying here is he is there by grace of the Muslims who have allowed him to come. And they are the ones to whom he should be showing gratitude because they're not letting the mob rip him apart. And we have to thank the Muslims for their fair-mindedness. Never mind that there's this edge of violence in what she's saying. But even under that sort of threat, Tommy Robinson, and indeed all of us who wanted to see a reasonable debate, have to be grateful to the Muslims who are controlling this debate.
Committee, you would be quite literally cooked.
That's it. She's threatening his life. And she's saying he has to show gratitude to the Muslims who are allowing him the privilege of speaking. This is in a hall where free speech is supposed to be a standard, just a given. But it isn't a given in her universe. And she gets... now this is what I call the Muslim smirk. You see it an awful lot. I'm not entirely sure why it shows up on so many Muslim women, but it does. A self-satisfied smirk. And I don't know, it's just the same in many Muslim women who are making a point. I've seen it a lot. Anyway, this woman here, with her hair uncovered and her slightly revealing dress, who I suppose is professing to be a Muslim and would be stoned to death if she set foot in Gaza, and she's talking about Palestinians, if she dressed like that anywhere in a territory that we know now as Palestine, she would really be in serious physical danger. All right, but there in the Oxford Union, a place where free speech and rational debate is supposed to be sacrosanct, she can make this Muslim smirk and threaten the other side with violence. If they let that mob outside in, then they'd be, in her words, cooked. A very sophisticated piece of vocabulary. In fact, she's wearing this very expensive dress, by the way. That's very well made piece of tailoring, that dress. And she's obviously pretty well off in her own way. And she is there in a hall which has hosted so much serious, rational, erudite debate. And she's using the words cooked. She is saying that because of her largesse and the other Muslims in the room, the opposition isn't being torn limb from limb or being thrown to a mob. In fact, she is there in this hall of civilization, and she is nothing better than a savage. She's a complete barbarian. And that self-satisfied smirk means she has no idea what civilization of any sort is, except to take advantage of when she so chooses. The fact that this could take place in the Oxford Union hurts my heart more than I can ever describe to you when I have a fairly wide vocabulary. But this absolutely is the depths. I'm sorry to spoil your Sunday, or whatever day you're accessing this video. It's depressing, and it doesn't bode well for the society in which I would have hoped my grandchildren would grow up. It's becoming a society of barbarians. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.